All right, you guys are now on candid camera on the recording. So let me open where I saved all of this stuff. Okay. So I have downloaded the starter packet to this folder, right? So this is the so the starter packet was originally here. You extract it, yada yada yada.
So I'm not seeing, I'm still just seeing like gray, white screen and kitten.
Uh, could
Um,
hold on. You,
actually, I can see your
click the
screen.
camera. There should be a new indicator on the Discord with
Yeah,
a computer monitor icon. Click that. Because I'm most
I
certainly streaming right now, and I see it on the
I think
Discord.
you should
Oh,
have a
just
button which says
watch
what
stream.
screen.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Got it.
Are you seeing my?
Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. Okay.
James, are you also recording this?
I am. I am. I am.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
I'll splice out all of these awkward moments at the actual. Maybe I shouldn't. It's funnier that way.
No,
Um,
that's okay. That's
okay.
okay. It's
So
just that if we
I think
need
it's
it, we can
fine.
just go back and refer it. That's all.
so there are some stuff here that is not normally here. That doesn't come in the starter packet. First, you'll notice is this mask RCN and Coco H5 file. I'll explain what that does later. But we're gonna go into the ARM setup, and then you'll see this a lot. And a lot of these files aren't supposed to be here either in the regular. Um, but you're gonna need this thing, the requirements.txt, and you're going to need where's the instruction? The setup instructions. Okay. So the first few instructions are pretty easy. They are as um, you just follow the directions as they are. You install Anaconda, which is a Python running. It helps you run Python code in a visual way. Create your Anaconda environment. I'm happy to help with this, but this is really is this line. You just run this line here, and if you're having issues here, there's plenty of online guides on how to use Anaconda. If you need help, ask me.
Yeah,
Um,
I
okay, fantastic.
use
This
Miniconda
so
and
the starter packet. So you're gonna clone his code from here, which is
mhm.
fine. You're gonna want to keep this starter packet because it contains some fold like this requirements.txt, and like some of these is not in the GitHub, right?
Okay.
So replace requirements.txt, and you replace this model.py file. So
Mhm.
this is like so from Professor Heller, uh, from Heller, replace git clone file, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. The installation is this. You just do pip3 through Anaconda in the right environment, and you set up and you install the requirements. It says download this. It's not actually where he says it is. Google what's it? Coco mask RCNN Coco H5. Google that. Do not dot H5. If you try to find with a link that's in the file, it won't work. It's no longer there since they've updated past it. But we want this for the being consistent for now. Okay.
So sorry, if we're going through Conda, are these where? So Matterport, is that is that what they've created, or is this somewhere else? Like, is this on a channel
What do you mean?
that we could
What is on a channel?
like if we're using Conda to manage this environment, can we grab this package from like one of the, various sources where you would grab?
Kind of like Docker grabbing an environment from somebody else. If we set it up, we probably could, but we didn't. Or
Okay.
rather, Jonathan didn't. And I'm not
Okay.
blaming him because it was just him back then, so it didn't make sense to set
Okay.
up a
So
portable
yeah,
environment.
sorry, that's what I was just wondering. Is
Yeah,
this his thing that we're grabbing, or okay.
this is his environment, and we're setting
Okay,
up
cool.
his environment because it runs the code in the way that we need it to. So let's talk about some requirements. Okay, so ARM specific code. If you want, so if you want to add files to a folder, you go into samples, arms, datasets, arms, train. Sorry, not here. Oh wait, there's plenty of ways to do this actually. And what I've ended up doing is I've created a top level folder called datasets, right?
Mhm.
Arms, train, and all the stuff that I have so far is in here. These are all uh photos. And if you guys see this, have you guys already used Professor Heller's annotating code,
Mm.
like the
Yep.
Java?
Mm-hmm.
So it produces this,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, his code actually outputs a JSON.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to use this, you need to do one of two things. For now, what I've done is that I've taken this and I've turned it into a summary.txt. So this is not mentioned in the code. So let's talk about running the code first, and then we'll go to the changes that we need to make. Don't worry about this. That's just a warning to do here. Python notebooks, we're gonna worry about that later. Okay. Training the model requires to run use unlabeled arms, and let's help like this. Like here's an example right here. Python unlabeled arms train path to dataset weights Cocoa. So let's look into this code really quick. Okay, so over here. Okay, here's two things that you need to remember. One, the root directory goes up 2 levels. So if you're running code here, it'll actually check the environment up here, which is why I keep a copy of mask RCN and Cocoa H5. You could change that, but I wouldn't recommend it because he has like dependencies in different locations. What I would do is just kind of work around that.
Okay.
Also, by the way, whenever you save this folder into your file, make sure to put underscores here instead of spaces, because
Yeah.
having spaces in your directory
Yeah.
is annoying. It's not.
It's just
It doesn't.
annoying, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mess up like
Just
every
a
like
thing. It's just an extra thing to go
extra step
from.
to do through, right? And so make sure that you don't put any spaces in there. It's just inconvenient if you do. This code, what this does, it takes the unlabeled arms model, and it trains on the data set, and it takes the weights Cocoa. So by the way, Cocoa, when the keyword here is Cocoa, it'll look for specifically this. This is like an industry
Mhm.
file. Like this is something that everyone uses. The mask RCN and Cocoa.h5. It's a standard set of weights that is used in image processing.
Mhm.
Is everyone following me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I want to run let's say I have an H5 file that comes from somewhere else. So like and I'll explain the rest of this later. Um, let's say like I created a model and I ran it 15 epochs and I wanted to start from there. You could take this file, put
Mhm.
it in where this would be, and instead of calling Cocoa, you would type in the name of the file instead. Something .h5, right?
Mhm.
All right, so this trains on so let's tell you what this does. Um, so path to dataset, I recommend absolute path, right? So do not type in, oh, if it starts up here, I need to go to, setup, datasets, arms. And then you only take, oh shit, that's not good. Oh wait, that's a shortcut to itself. That doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Um, and then
So just use the absolute path
yeah,
for
use the
all the
whole path.
Mhm.
And that's why you kind of want to get rid of spaces, because that's a problem. Use the whole path, because the code can read the whole path, and if you don't do it, I spent literally an hour and a half trying to get like the directories to work, and at the end I messaged Jonathan. He said just use the absolute path, and I'm like, that would have been way smarter. So ignore that problem. Use the absolute path. Okay. What this does is that when you pass it the directory, so let's say so if I pass it arms, it'll look for a folder within arms called train, right?
Mhm.
Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in the data sets, in the folder that you pass to it, you need to have 3, all, train, and val. Okay. All and val can be empty because this code doesn't do anything with it explicitly, but it does look inside train for this. What you need to have is the following: a folder with a name in it. Inside of it, it needs to be the same name image .jpeg, and it needs to have the same image underscore summary.txt. You could change that, and here's where you could change it. So if you wanted to change that, you could tell the full file to read .json instead. Okay, this makes it seamless between Professor Heller's software and this software. I will do it later. I haven't done it because I had Jonathan provide me a data set and everything is saved in .summary.
Okay.
There's
So
also no compatibility
essentially,
issue. What's up?
sorry. So, Dr. Heller's software actually gives out a folder with the name of the image with the JSON and the image mark.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so we could just, so you're just saying that instead of using the text that Jonathan has already put in, we could just put in the JSON
So
and then just run it under the data set that's gonna be
what all that
put
has to
those
happen.
JSON.
All that has to happen. So
So
Professor Heller's code does produce this. You're right. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
What I'm saying is that for now I'm running it. I need to fix this. Is that I'm running it under underscore
okay,
summary because I didn't want to manually relabel all these files. That's all. In the future, we should. I'm
So
letting
for
you
now,
know. Yeah. I'm just letting you know that if you
okay,
run the code with
okay,
with stuff from Professor Heller's software, you're going to need to go
mhm,
in and edit this. Okay, this line
okay,
123. Okay,
that makes sense.
that's all. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you want to
Oh,
run this on your
okay,
own, you need to either change it to underscore summary.txt, or you need to change the JSON to a summary.txt. That's all. All right. Okay, so let's move
got it.
forward. I just want you guys to be able to run this. That's all. That's the entire purpose of today's meeting. Also, I wanted to ask Jennifer about what stuff she's been reading because I need to catch up on reading. Separate. Okay, so this runs this. All right, so absolute path, edit line 1 2. I think it's literally 1 2 3. Yeah, it's a 1 2 3 to read JSON or edit a file to say underscore summary.txt. Right, that's what you guys need to remember. And I will upload this into a YouTube video, so you guys are good. You don't have to worry too hard about it. Trains. So this trains the model based on the initial weights that comes from Cocoa. You can always change that. In training losses, yada yada yada. This is the what's the difference between? Oh, this is validation. Runs a validation and loss metrics. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about this yet. This is a later step. Rather, you're not going to worry about this right now. The log. So when you run this code, it'll. So remember how I told you it goes 2 directories up? So if I have this here, I click arm setup, and if I'm running it from this folder, it means that it's going to poop out a logs folder up here, right? And in this folder, we'll have, you guys can see that they're arranged by date and then T something. I don't know what these T's stand for, but they're organized by date and then some other code. And then I need to actually underscore this as unlabeled as well. All right, so 2 problems. One, these codes don't conclude whether or not the model is labeled or unlabeled. So keep that in mind, that if you run both the labeled model and the unlabeled model, you need to manually go in afterwards and say, hey, this one I did on this time is unlabeled. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's say we've done all this, right? We've done all this, and any questions about running Jonathan's model on data sets that we annotate? Okay, cool.
I think.
So this is also why you want to install Anaconda Navigator instead of just the Anaconda prompt, because you're going to need Jupyter Notebook. So we're going to wait for that to run really quick, and we'll use like a model that I've created somewhere. So it's going to take some time. It's sweet time to start up. Got 15 minutes of video so far. It's not terrible.
Yeah. So this is the experience I've had with Anaconda Navigator, which is why I stick with Miniconda and then just in each of my environments put in the tools I need so then I can just
I
type in
see.
uh
I'm a C++
Jupyter Notebook
coder.
at the command line and then it just opens Jupyter Notebook for you,
I see.
which is kind of nice.
You see, I'm used to coding in C, C++, so like I've always been like just rooting in through command line
Hmm.
in general. So like when they told me about using this, I'm like, it was so many tools that I had to learn how to use. I was just like,
Hmm.
give me the easiest one, give me the navigator. I'll just let it take its time. It's fine.
Yeah, I set this up each summer we've got a group of students that come use some data for a group and I set this
Okay,
up for them because it was just a lot easier if it's for folks that are new to it to.
sure. But while we're recording, let's just I don't want to do too much editing. Remember that by the way, you need to every time you open navigator, you need to activate the correct environment again. That's the same thing with nope with the command line. You just can't see it that well. So it's gonna open this. You install Jupyter Notebook and run it. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook, it just drops you in your directory, so I'm gonna go to where I need to go. So I know where I saved this, so I'm just gonna go navigate to it. Okay, so here we are. I put this here because I wanted to put this here. In reality, these are normally under samples arms. Your starter packet will be here. Okay. I move them around because it's more convenient for me for everything to be working under this directory. You can change that however you want. It does, and all that it changes is how you measure your directories, which is why I highly recommend using absolute directory path instead of using relative directory paths. So, we're going to inspect the arms data the model, not the data, unlabeled. So we click that, and it'll open this whole thing. By the way, has everyone here used Jupyter before?
Hmm.
Roshana? Okay, so you guys know I accidentally moved my cells around without realize. I thought that this up and down meant go back and forward.
Mm.
I didn't realize that moves my code around. Anyway,
Oh, what a pain.
yeah. So here's the things that you need to change ahead of time. So this directory is the absolute path 2 levels up, and I think he said that the same. He set this up the same as the other code, right? So you look 2 levels up. So let's open my file directory. Let's cram this on the left. Put this on the right. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. So he looks 2 levels up, which is here. It looks under the logs. So root directory, logs. Can I get rid of this preview? How do I get rid of this preview? Whatever, it's fine. I tell it what model I want it to make. Let's actually, I think I made a new one since. So let's go use my new one. So let's, oh, not that one. So actually, I've never run this model, this one. So you guys will be seeing new results. And then within that one, you look for the one that you want. So by the way, the code runs. Do you guys understand how the model runs? How the model is trained?
Kind of.
Okay, essentially what you
Kind
need to
of.
know is
Yeah.
that it trains up to a number of epochs, and within epochs there's like a number of rounds, and I will go over that in the code in a minute because you're going to want to shorten it. So you need the name of the code, want the name of the file here. I want the latest one out of this model, yada yada yada. Boom. Okay, cool. So I save that. Further down, don't touch that. Don't touch this. Where do I want you to touch? Print? No, not this one. All right. That's the model loading. Weights path. That's the weights path that we generated before, as you see up here. Arms weights path. Run detection. So this is where you're going to choose an image. So I believe that. Where did I determine this image plate? So it's good for me to remember this. Okay. So starter packet. Data sets. Oh, okay, right. It goes into the val folder. the code
Yeah.
as it is right now, this is commented out already, is that it'll check just the 0 index, which is the one I have here, but I think you can make it choose a random one by getting rid of this line and choosing this line instead. So when you're running the code, datasets val is the whatever image you want to load here. So we'll run that in just a moment. Actually, let me take a picture of this because I want to make sure that it's running the correct. How do I? Oh, okay, I can do that. Fantastic. Okay. So we're gonna go back to the top and hit run. So run. That takes a moment. So by the way, wait for that star to finish. It's gonna. So this code throws a lot of warnings at you. Like, do not worry. Like, there's a lot of warnings that go into this thing. Especially with the way the data types are. So let's wait for that to figure itself out. It'll say TensorFlow. Yeah, and that's when it's done. Right. Okay. Run. That's a quick one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and this is also a quick one. Let's just yeah. So let's go through. That takes a moment, but it's done quickly. I think most of these are quick. Oh, that one takes time apparently. Oh, right, because it's loading the weights. All right, this one is the honker, and it takes a moment. Kind of curious to see the difference in results. So it's this text will change several times.
So this code is just looking at the picture that we wanna
What this
load
has
with the
done is that
mask.
it's
So
taken the weights that this has taken trained
yeah.
weights and it's running it against a validation image. That's all that it's doing right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm actually curious to see the difference between these two. Okay. So yeah, and that's what outputs this image here. This is the magic annotated image that Professor Heller is looking for.
Okay.
All right. So the thing that he asked me and Jennifer for, was it Jennifer? Was it you and me that he asked me for this?
Yeah.
All right. I will take care of this. Mostly because I've got practice with it. Actually, if you want to, now that I've shown you how to do it, you can also take some sets of images and train them and run them. So actually, before you do that, let's talk about. So okay, so this is what Professor Heller is looking for, and this is where I'm going to end the video after I do one more explanation. So there's one major concern that I ran this. I ran this thing for 30 generations. It took 25 hours on my computer. By the way, I lost power to my computer on the 25th hour. I nearly exploded. So how do we set this in a way to run it in this? So this 50 right here. So you're going to want to keep in mind these files. Okay, ready? So steps per epoch are set to 100 and 30. 15? Because I changed it already. Okay. And then you'll find epochs is normally equal to 30. This combination results in about 24 hours of my computer. And I have a gaming computer. Like it's not a baby computer. Which means that these are like multiplicative. So if you so what I end up doing is that I cut this in half, and I cut this in half. It runs for a quarter about the time. It's about a quarter trained, but you can run it modularly. You can run it in sections. So what you do is like this. Let's say, so remember how I told you before that you can train a different weights than Coco, right? So you have where is it? Training. Oh, right. So you have this weights Coco here, right? If you want to train a different weights, you can go to your old weights. If you name this file here, mask RCNN H15, and you go from 15 to 30, the code will recognize that it ran this up to epoch 15 and will allow you to continue up to 30. So it's a really, really, really convenient way to split apart the work. In case like, oh, like, you know what, I'm doing an errand for 5 hours. Let's set it to run for about 5 hours. Let's set the steps per epoch to be 100 and have it run for 6 epochs, right? Is that how do you pronounce it? Epoch?
Epic.
Epic? Okay,
I
so
say epoch. So
Epoch.
what
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
British versus
you're
American.
saying
Both right.
is
Oh, okay. What's your question?
so so what you're saying is on the code for the cocoa weights thing, we just have to put in the name of the ones you've already run, instead
Yeah.
of just saying weights is equal to cocoa.
So if
That's
you
what
say
you're saying.
weights is equal to cocoa, it looks for
It's gonna take the log. Yeah,
this one, the
I know
base
what you're
default.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Otherwise, it'll look for a file named this,
Yeah, got it.
whatever, or one of these. So if you want to name a specific
Mhm.
file, just change the word cocoa to that. That's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that allows you to modularize the work.
Mhm.
I told Professor Heller that I wanted IBM access after I wasted 24 hours of work.
Yeah. Did
We
you
have
get that? He actually,
I gave
spoke
it.
to him on Friday, and he was telling me how you had like like the whole day to run, and then he
So hold
said
on, stop,
that
stop,
he
stop for
also
1
tried
second.
with
Sorry,
some of the
stop for 1 second.
associate.
Just
Uh-huh.
because I'm still recording this. Is there anything else about this process that I need to have recorded for you guys? Okay, I'm
I
gonna
think we're
I'm gonna
good.
end the recording here and I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. Okay.
Mhm.